Let's see.
We're in the game, and we become the avatars we chose. So that means that...
Okay, looks like it's working. I don't know how I can see how many people are watching, but there also seems to be a really big lag. I'll try and get this on the side. Okay, cool. Alright. Okay then, I don't know how many people we've got so far, but I was just going to start off looking at a few of the games that these guys have played against each other before. Hey Fox. Just to see what we kind of might get. We've only got like 8 minutes until the matches start, so it's not too long to go. Also, it might be worth checking if there's any other atomic tournament going on at the moment. There's a couple, maybe. Just this one. Okay, not a very popular one. Is it pretty bad then, the background noise on the mic? I seem to remember it was a problem before, and I did something that made it better, but it didn't completely fix the issue with the background noise. So, of course, this match is between onubense and Arca. Okay, that sounds like it's bad. There's some settings then, you know, in OBS that I could. Too much gate. I don't know what that means. Do you know how I'd change that or make it better? Mic setting, okay. Probably somewhere in here. Input tab. Okay. So if I move this, does that make it better? What about that? Is it just changing the volume? I guess probably. Which one made it worse, going up or down? Bring it down, okay. So if I put it down to there, how's that? Does that sound better than before? Okay, so it reduces both the noise and the volume. Is there a setting that somewhere else that I can do to? Oh, that's already maxed. Okay. Where should I put it? Just let me know when I reach like a pretty good point, or as good as it can be. I think before, I can't remember where it was to start with. I think it was much further up. Okay, I'll leave it there. Great now. Okay, perfect. I think there's a bit of a lag, so maybe I've gone too far. I'll leave it there. Somewhere more to the left. Okay. A little bit there. Okay. I'll leave it there. It sounds like this is reasonable. Let's put this back. Okay, so I was quickly going to look at the games between Arca and onubense that they've played before. If I can actually spell onubense correctly. That's better anyway. I mean, if you'd rather I moved it slightly up or down to make it better, then just say so. It's really easy. I've got it down the bottom. So they've played quite a few games. I guess 62 games. What's their overall score? I wonder. I think it's probably slightly in onubense's favour, I would guess. Yeah, I think they've played pretty much all those games will be atomic. But it's a combination, of course, of lots of bullet games in there, as well as 3-2 games. So if we look, maybe when Arca's white, Arca tends to play a lot wider, a bigger variety of openings, I think, than onubense does. So you've got knight f3, e3. What does he play the most? So 31 games, 18 with knight f3. Only a few with e4, that's surprising. And only a cut. So mostly knight f3. D4 a few times. Personally, I'm expecting mostly the games to be a combination of knight f3 when Arca's white. I mean, knight f3 followed by knight c3 when he plays knight f3, and e3 followed by knight f3. Let's see if they've had any games in that line. So a 1 minute game from a month ago, where Arca played. This is the most critical line that white can play. G3 is a bit weird, but I suspect he was maybe he was playing G4 and he just mouse slipped that, because that's just a really weird way to play. G4 is an interesting move here, but it's not the most critical. Queen A4 is far more critical. What other games? Another one where onubense went King F8 and bishop back to C4. The main line is D4 here. As you can see, it's been played a lot. Bishop C4 is actually an interesting move as well, but a bit more experimental. I expect Arca to be incredibly well prepared for this match. Actually, I think he very much wants to win and kind of maybe take a bit of revenge for last year. So how many games have I played in this line? Oh, quite a few. I'm guessing they. Oops. Did he play G4 most of the time? When onubense is white, he is generally played more positionally, playing knight h3 on move 1, followed by e4. And basically, he's got a very, very good understanding of what he needs to do when he has onubense, that is, when he's got his pawns set up in the centre. He's just a very, very good player, so he's happy if he just gets like some advantage out of the opening. I think it's actually 8 o'clock now, so I don't know if they've actually started. I should probably just follow onubense, just to make sure I don't miss it. But generally, so onubense when he plays, he will start with knight h3 e4 in most games. I don't, of course, for this match it's quite a big match, so he could have prepared something a bit different, bit surprising, as he has played that for quite some time. He played it against me in the final last year, in every single game, and he's played it most of the time since then, and I think in other rounds last year and this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just did that again. I mean, it's a good opening, it's not possible really to refute that, but maybe he'll come with a surprise, something a little bit more tricky, that the potential to score a couple of quick wins, which is always really, really nice to do. We're 1 minute late, what's going on? What is happening? Let's just go back and have a look. So when onubense was white, let's see what they've done in their actual games together. So 31 games. Okay, only half of them have been knight h3. More recently he's played... Okay, it's 1 minute games, so what did they play last year? So this is only a month ago, but this was in a fairly important tournament, one of Fishy Vicious tournaments. If we go back 1 year, so this was the match they played last year. We had knight h3 in every single game. So there's a few different lines that black can play in here. Usually e6 is to be preferred. It's possible to play d5. You can see it's been played quite a few games. Other moves are generally weaker. They allow some sort of tactic like this, or e5 that's been played a lot, but it just loses to queen g4. I don't know what setting I've got this. Oh, okay, I'll get rid of some of those. But e6 is generally the best move, I think. d5 also popular, but it allows knight c3 and white follows up with d4. The knight on c3 is a little bit more aggressive than if black plays e6. It's no longer possible to develop that way. Well, I guess it is possible to develop, but black is bringing the queen out pretty quickly, and at the least can just pin the knight with bishop b4. So usually white will play d4, and then black has two big two big options here. Sorry, I've got a bit of a sore throat, but should be fine. d5 here is one move, which looks like this position was reached. Oh, he played d5 last year in one game. The match definitely was scheduled for 6. There hasn't been any announcement of a delay, has there? Nope, I haven't been messaged or anything, so I assume both players are online. I'm not sure what the delay is. I'll give it a few more minutes and then I'll message one of them and see what's happening. But anyway, this is the setup that happens in a lot of games. And then after knight a3, black can either play a6 or b5. I don't think there's a clear... oh, we're about to begin. There's like a clear advantage either way. So Arca gets white in the first game. So we'll see. I expect he's probably got a few different lines prepared. Knight f3, so f6, knight c3 probably. Yeah. Knight h6, so g4, c6, and then d4 is, I'm sure, will be played. e6, probably e6, and then e4. So this is all main line so far. Bishop b4 is less common, and I think, well, by the speed of Arca's response, he's not really very surprised. I remember thinking that knight g6 instead of g5 was quite strong. So after g5, basically, white generally is doing very well in these lines. He's got a lot of different options, so he can still in some cases jump with the knight to g6, but now with the pawn on g5 he'll be opened up to some sort of counter attack with knight g4. Sometimes it can still work anyway, but also another option is just to push the pawn up to g6 when you're attacking h7, and you've also got ideas of, in some cases, of just directly attacking. I think onubense just want to pour out of his preparation there. e5. Arca still moving instantly. g5 looks like it's pretty forced here, so bishop g5 is white's idea. You've got to really stop that. The only other ways to, I guess, to stop that, allow different tactics. So if you play h6, this knight can jump into g6, and if you play f4, you're really opening up this diagonal. I mean, bishop h3 is probably just winning on the spot. So g5 looks like the move, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's something good there, like maybe just taking this. Okay, f4, still instant moving, but this doesn't look completely clear to me. Yeah, d5 I was thinking, because now you're threatening this. So yeah, okay, so Arca's stopped that. F takes e5. Black can't really castle because queen h5 would be a good way just to pry open the g file, and then rook g1. The g5 square is covered by the bishop on c1. So black's king is kind of stuck in the centre, and white's pieces are obviously developing much more freely than white's. Queen e7 is a natural move. e5 I would say is a natural move, but it might be something. It doesn't seem very really maximising the position to me. There feels like there could be something, because it could be something better than that. Not quite sure what though. I mean, queen e2 could be played, of course, but yeah, okay, e5. It feels like, I mean, for this variation, this is a very critical line for black. Black's usually in really big trouble in this, theoretically, in this line. So knight g6 here. There is a bit of delay. I'm not sure what position is being discussed, but knight g6 here doesn't look too threatening to me. After takes, I'm not sure what the follow-up is. Knight a6 is natural. Yeah, I think generally just leaving the knight on h4 is quite good. It can be very useful there. Bishop e2 is an example, like, because now after h5 the knight will jump into g6, and if you don't play that, then this bishop will just come in. You'll have to move the king. But Okay, this is a big time issue. This is more important than the position now. Bishop h5. Bishop h5 looks like the obvious move. King d8. Ouch. Queen. Okay, I was thinking queen f8, but there may have been a problem with that. I'm not sure. But bishop. Now you're really asking for e6, and I don't know. Lots of nice options here for white. You can also just continue developing, of course. This knight's still not on pre because of bishop g5, so you could just play something like rook g1, queen e2, even just unpin this knight, just move the king. Looks a bit silly playing something like king f1, but it's actually it can work. So queen h5. I don't think that white doesn't need to sacrifice the queen. I mean, okay, I wouldn't do that. I mean, what's white risking by just a3? I mean, is fine. I wouldn't have played it myself, but it just shows that white's just in complete control here, I think. So black will now just be moving around, hoping for a mistake in the execution. So he'll probably go back to e7 again. Oh my god. So e7, there must be some sort of mate here. I can't believe this. Well, bishop e8 is possible, or just queen e2 maybe. Just queen e2. Then the queen's threatening to come to e5, and you're also threatening just the queen. I don't see a defence. Queen e5. So 1-0. What's the point of a3? I think the point of a3 was that white was just in complete control of the position. In some cases there are tactics where black can play bishop a3, and then after captures play knight b4 with some counterplay. I wouldn't have played a3 myself. I think I'd have played some other slightly more aggressive option. But I think white... So Arca was just highlighting the fact that he was just in a much better position. If we open up that... Okay, sorry, we've already started. So we did see knight h3, e4, and then d5, which I think is a slight inaccuracy, followed by knight c3, b5, d4. Oh wow, sacrifice. Okay. Some both players playing instantly. I have never seen this position before, but clearly it's been prepared. I do remember seeing something quite similar actually. Like last year, there was a video made by Gannett and onubense about their preparation and for the match they played, the match he played against me, which I remember seeing, and there was some sort of sacrifice like this bishop f4 idea. I don't know who Chess Fake is accusing of being a cheater, but these guys are both incredibly strong players, and I wouldn't. I don't think either of them are cheating. They're just well prepared in the opening. Oh dear. Okay. c3. Okay, so what can black do? So I think black looks like he's in big trouble actually. So queen b3 is the... That's a bit of a strange arrow. So queen b3 is the obvious threat, playing along this diagonal, and it can't really be blocked very easily. It can be blocked by the bishop, but then it can... white will explode on e5. Well, is that so strong? So queen b3, if it's white's move, queen b3, bishop b5, bishop takes, queen d5. I guess white will just quickly move the king. Maybe just castle queenside followed by rook e1 is too good there. Usually in these kind of cases, black wants to move the e pawn, you know, something like e4. But of course, in this case, white won't follow up with queen b3 when you play bishop e6. He'll just take on c7. So queen e7. The idea of this is that queen b3, e takes f4. I'm wondering if bishop f... No, sorry, that's a complete blunder. I think maybe something like bishop g5. Does that work? So pawn takes. Oh no, it doesn't anymore because the rook's covering h5 after h takes. I was thinking this, like some sort of double bishop sacrifice. Because then if bishop takes, queen g4. But that doesn't seem to work because of g takes. So okay, he's just gone for bishop. After bishop e6, maybe he'll just take it and just. But he feels like this might be underselling. I'm not sure why Arca's. Okay. He takes f4, queen e6. Queen takes. Castles. I'm still convinced about that for white. Maybe he's going to play bishop e4 or something. Okay, he has gone queen e6. So I guess the idea is to follow up with castle's queenside, or maybe just castle's queenside. I would assume. I think this has gone wrong slightly for onubense. I'll be surprised if black can't get his king safe for a minimal material loss. I mean, he's got two pieces for 2 pawns here, so so the obvious threat is rook e1 check. So you can deal with that in a couple of ways. So one is to sacrifice a piece, but you don't particularly want to do that. For example, knight e7, rook e1, castles. Maybe knight f6 is necessary. Yeah. So giving up this pawn, when if white could even grab that, he'd have 3 pawns for 2 pieces, which, if there are no dynamics in the position, is well, it's a good endgame advantage. You can usually push those pawns up, but the 2 pieces can quite often generate some play. So Arca here will be going to try to generate some sort of play. How do I get rid of these people that are trolling? Do I click on them or something? Okay. Oh, whoops! I think I did the wrong person, didn't I? How do I put him back? Unban. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. I didn't realise it was the wrong person. Ban user. That was a chess fake guy, wasn't it? Okay, there we go. Sorry, a bit of a noob with Twitch, I'm afraid. Oh, I've missed some of the game now. So what's going on? Okay, so not much has changed materially. This bishop here is really annoying. If white could exchange both pairs of rooks, he'd be winning this position. So Arca is trying to kind of keep the position a bit more complex. So yeah, he'll go for moves like put the bishop in, try to wiggle his knight in, without allowing the rook exchanges. So maybe something like knight a4 and knight b2 will come at some point. Again, this is a positional win for white. Oh, okay. Oh, this is looking fantastic actually for onubense. Arca needs to open lines on the queen side. I'm not sure why I would have. Yeah, I think this is just winning. I don't think that it's possible to force any open lines for black. So c4 will come for certain. So b3 should be played so that you can keep this completely blocked. h4. Maybe not. So king d2. Why is he running this way? Actually, that's much better. Yeah, sorry. I think a4 might. I suspect maybe taking there was better. This way now. Why did he not play a takes b3? Is this better? Oh, he's going for a win, is it? But then, so he'll promote with a knight and then play knight b7. But then the knight comes back. But then knight d6. Why did he promote to a queen? Oh no, that was a bit of a. Okay. So if he promoted to a queen, a knight there. Oh, it wins for black apparently. Okay. Oh, because he goes. Yeah. Okay. Fine. No. Good job I wasn't playing white. Last game looks like it was a pretty smooth win for Arca there, according to the computer. Are they having a break now? Are they? I think they're allowed 2 breaks each. Is there another troll or something? Is there? Can I mod Isaac? Yeah, sure. I can do that. How do I do that? Mod user. There you go. Yeah, so that's a very, very strong start for Arca. Not sure what was going on in that opening. It looked like this was all prepared by onubense. Arca was also playing pretty quickly, so knight f4. I mean, is a okay. So this was all played fast. And at this point, onubense started thinking. So, according to Stockfish, this was all fine. Bishop e4 here apparently is an improvement. But this position is quite complicated. Got to block the diagonal. Castle's queenside. This definitely looks better than what happened in the game. Oh wow, it was a forced mate. Okay, I mean they both had pretty limited amount of time by this point. What time did they have? 8 seconds, 6 seconds. Still, onubense must be disappointed. So that's a pretty ominous start, I think, considering how fast Arca played in both the openings. He's clearly very well prepared, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him just bang out the same opening next time, considering he won fairly comfortably with white. And bear in mind that now he's drawn a game with black himself. All he needs to do is win his white games, and he's the champion. I haven't seen much comment in the spectator room on the games. It seems a bit strange. Hopefully that's just because it's all over in the Twitch chat. How many people are watching on Twitch? How can you tell? A3 was practical. Well, I mean it blundered to a forced mate, so I don't know. I think yeah, I'm not sure why. I at the time I thought that this is what would happen, because that's what he's trying to do, just open up lines. The thing is, this isn't really very practical because well, yeah, if king b1, I'm not sure. This seems quite a logical move. You have to waste a move now. I guess you'd do that, and then h4. That's not too difficult to to see. I guess with the amount of time they had, nothing's particularly simple. But b4 is a strange move. Another point to note: the computer's pointing out g4, and the reason that that's good is because rook g8, you can get a queen and then come back with the queen to d1. Hi HD 1992. Yeah, so I'm an Atomic player. I've been an Atomic player for a long time. Last year I played this event and played against onubense in the final. Was Atomic champion. I still am. Atomic champion, Program Fox, and I'm enjoying it for the last few minutes. Based on these two games, it looks like Arca's clearly put himself in the driver's seat. So it's 10-minute break. So I'm not sure. This game was third. Is that the time that it finished? Or was that the game? It's time it started. So I didn't check the clock to see what time they finished, but the break's 10 minutes. Each player can request a 10-minute break 2 times. The idea of the break is kind of twofold. So one is obviously somebody might need to use the bathroom. Another reason is that if you have like some kind of bruising defeats, you have a bit of time to, check the opening out with the computer. Otherwise, a lot of the time, your opponent can just repeat the same thing over and over again and win in the same way. And if you're completely clueless about what to do, or if they've refuted your, the line you looked at before the match, it can be a bit boring just watching people win in the same way. So yeah, I suspect the same thing that is said over here. Onubense looking at other choices with black. I think he's doing exactly that. I wouldn't. Let's have a look. So if we look at the game where Onubense was black last time, knight c3, knight h6. So this is the main line. So usually here, bishop d6 is more common. But I am absolutely sure that Arca will be incredibly well prepared in all these lines. This is a really difficult line actually to play against. If White's well prepared, it is very, very tricky just to get a good game. This is one of the main problems with Atomic. This line. C6 is another option, and then after E3 there are some lines. So like E6 is most popular. You can have some serious. Leechess.org. Okay, I'm not sure what's being discussed there. Knight d4 is the most critical move. Bishop d3 is actually the most popular according to the book, but I think black's not so bad in that line. Knight d4 is really difficult. Who am I rooting for? As the as I am the tournament director, so I can't be too biased one way or another. But I've known onubense for a long time. We've been friends for about 10 years, so I'd be quite nice if he won it. I think he's been the of a tournament, of a title prize tournament. Okay. Yeah, I've heard about that one. Yep. Onubense has been, over the last 10 years for me, the best Atomic player in the world. So it would be kind of nice for him to have a world championship title. I think he'd be well deserved. Arca is a bit newer on the scene, but he seems to be pretty red hot at the moment in terms of his form. Yeah, so I think I put Arca as a favourite actually, just based on before the match I would have said he was a slight favourite, and at the moment with being one game up, already I think he's quite a big favourite because he's shown how well prepared he is with White. Always root for the underdog, so you think onubense is the underdog as well? Based on, okay, I mean the ratings are I don't know, I think you can pretty much ignore the ratings. Onubense is in my opinion, he's the best tournament player of all time. Um, he's been rated. They've both been rated much higher than they are now. Fairly recently, even. So, but Arca more recently has been playing a lot more. So onubense doesn't play that much anymore. He is more experienced, as has been pointed out in the chat. Yeah, he's been playing a lot longer. But I think Arca is taking this tournament. I'm not saying onubense isn't taking the tournament seriously. I'm sure he is, but I think Arca's taking it quite seriously. I think he wasn't happy about what happened last year when he went out in the semi-final when the match with onubense was tied at 6-all, and he felt that if the match had carried on, he could have won that and potentially won the tournament. Okay, there's been a rematch offer that's been sent. According to that, I don't know how long ago that was. Let's make sure that I think I'm still following. It can't be long now, surely. I mean, what time did they finish the last game? Must have been more than 10 minutes ago. Come on, guys. So yeah, I'm predicting another knight f3, f6, knight c3, and I wouldn't be surprised if onubense played c6 and just tried to play something that maybe Arca hasn't analysed so deeply. But we'll see. Maybe he'll play knight h6 and he'll just go for a different line. Okay, yep. So we've got knight h6 again. Same stuff. Oh, he's got bishop b4 again. d5. Okay, that's looks like Arca is the first person to not move instantly, which is good for onubense. Bad news for people watching is that I have never seen this position before, so I don't really know what's going on. This the thing about this line is that objectively most lines are, if white plays well, are good for white. However, this particular line is very complicated, and if black catches white in a line that he doesn't know, even if it's subjectively good for white, it can be very, very difficult to handle. And I tend to only like playing this line as white when I'm very well prepared, because it can go badly, badly wrong. Just because it's very, very tactical, and black has lots of options to counter-attack. And when I've been preparing this line as black, what I've done is I've looked at a few different lines, some of which I know are actually bad, but aren't played very often, and have some traps. Okay, so it looks like both players are probably out of their book now, and black has sort of survived, which is what you want to do as black. In fact, I'm quite surprised how decent his position looks. I mean, it looks a bit silly. This knight's a bit bad, but I mean, you'll be looking at sacrificing this knight with like knight f6 in some positions. This probably shouldn't be taken because rook g2 takes queen h4 will come. So if it was black's move, then knight f6, maybe rook takes g6 is no, so that's rubbish because rook g1. So something like this and taking and playing e5 and just kind of blasting open the centre is what black should be looking at doing. Bishop takes c6, yeah. I was thinking that's probably sensible. This means that without the light square bishop, this diagonal potentially could give black some hope, but I don't think it's much hope, because king f1 white will play king f1. I think if black try, yeah, so b6. I'm expecting king f1, queen e2. Okay. I'm not sure why king h1 was bad. Maybe there was some reason. So this is basically a queen sacrifice, I guess. So bishop a6, he's going to play queen b5. Then after captures, put the knight to b5, when he'll be hopping in with the knight, causing all sorts of mischief. Still, maybe I think that's what black needs to do, though, because otherwise, well, queen b5 is a threat. The only other way to stop that really is playing a6 or b5, and you don't want to do that, really. a6 blocks the bishop in, b5 just, I mean, you're asking for some sort of a4 move. So I think bishop a6, unless there's another reason. Bishop a6, queen b5, bishop takes, knight b5, that looks pretty forced. Yeah, I suspect white's doing quite well, but still, what you gonna do? You play a5 because otherwise, so in this line after these moves, so you captured. No, so queen b5 first, then captures. Oh, he's played a6. To me, that move just looks really bad. Maybe he just calculated that out to a terrible position. I don't know. But this knight f3. Okay, so g5 is natural, or h6, I guess, could be tried. You want to stop knight g5. Maybe after g5, the knight can hop somewhere. If he goes back to h4, you're not actually threatening queen h5, so black can spend the tempo, but I'm not sure what black's doing with the tempo here. Because without this diagonal, black doesn't really have any counterplay. So I mean, he's a piece down. That one idea for white is just to develop its pieces like this. He can also still just move the king, I think, but I'd probably just play b3 and bishop a3. He has gone back. He's not threatening to play queen h5. Oh, was he? He was threatening knight g6. Okay, that's why onubense played g4, which is also a move that he wants to play anyway. And he has a bit of a time edge. They're getting close to a time scramble now. He's got a nice time edge, and onubense, well, both these players actually are phenomenal atomic bullet players. I think, along with Farsi Nami, I think they're the absolute best atomic bullet players. Well, Grand Lapin actually is also very good at atomic bullet, but I think these two are probably actually the top two for me anyway. So queen g5 is a move, right? And what's happening after queen g5? Queen e3? Is that, and followed by g3? So g3 straight away. I liked queen g5 actually there. Oh wow. For some reason I thought that this didn't work for black. Queen h. I think he's got bishop f8. So queen h4, queen h5 takes rook g1, bishop to f8. So he's got bishop f8 covering. So he's actually winning here, I think, black. So that's very well done. So knight, maybe knight b5 just to confuse things. But bishop f8 now. Now after rook g8, you play king d8. So bishop b7, yeah, and followed by getting the king safe. Oh, this is great. So just get the king away. Push the pawn, yep. So this now is, he's going for a sacrifice for knight or something, is he? But the thing is, so move the king. I play king b8, or you can even push this pawn and put the bishop out. But he's going to try and push the pawn to b4, followed by rook c8. So okay, rook c1, bishop c6. I get, is that the idea? Oh, he's got that. I didn't see that check. Fantastic. Okay. yeah, this is over. Um, as long as he doesn't completely mess up, he can just bring the king up, put the rook d5. I guess he's just trying to keep complete control. Bishop back to g6 is nice, yeah. b4. Rook a5 is a threat now. You can bring the rook back to d7 maybe and play rook a7. d8, that's a bit strange. Well, I don't know why you go to d8 and not d7. I'd go back to d7 now. Okay, now you can bring the rook in with check, and it's followed by mate, because rook b1, king there, b3, checkmate. Okay, he's doing it a different way, but it's still checkmate. Well, I'm quite glad that happened, because I was a bit concerned that Arca would just win with white every game, and the match would be pretty dull. But that's fantastic for the match. So now onubense is playing this again. So here, knight c3 is a very tricky move in this line. I had a couple of games against Pash Pash in Fishy Vishy's tournament. Oh, Chess Kid. Is that the ICC's Chess Kid? If it is, then he'll like this game, because he used to play this knight h3 e4 variation a lot. Usually with knight a3, but knight c3 in this particular position is a very critical move. Arca's thinking for a long time, which I'm very surprised by, as this is this has been played before quite a few times, and I'd expect it to be well prepared. Oh, good to see you, Chess Kid. For those that don't know, Chess Kid was when I first started playing Atomic, he was the best player around. He played on ICC. At the time, that was probably the best site for Atomic. And that was in the long days before there was any of these Atomic engines, and it was all about thinking for yourself. And well, there's always been theory in Atomic, but it wasn't quite as bad back then. These days, is Arca disconnected or something? I was surprised that he was thinking at all in this position. I thought he would surely have analysed it. Bishop b4 is what I would have played. The most critical move is queen h4. However, I think that the complications don't really work out very well for black. So he's gone bishop b4, which I think is objectively a smart decision. But now what happens is this knight looks a bit silly on a6, and white just has a nice position, because black's, like I say, played knight a6. If the knight was on b8, you'd use your tempo in a different way rather than playing knight a6, and you'd have a fairly normal position. So white's got essentially a tempo up on a fairly normal position, so you can play moves like g3, castles. The usual idea in these positions is to play some moves like this, and then followed by bishop h5 and take on f5, and then you follow up with pushing the f pawn. So he's gone straight for bishop h5, followed by queen e2. That's another good point of bishop h5. Sorry guys, have some water. Oh. Yeah, so queen e2's probably adds to the idea of e takes f5. But generally the next move, castles will come at some point as well. Knight c5. Okay, so that's a nice idea. So the idea is that after captures queen b6, you're really hitting this diagonal hard. It may still be playable for white, because you can play, so for example, bishop e3, and after captures you can then still block the diagonal. I've also kind of had an does that work? I'm also thinking that maybe you can play king d1, which looks like a bit silly, but after queen d4 you can play like queen d3. That's probably not good. Queen g1 is probably quite a good move there. Okay, it did look a bit too ridiculous to be good. But if you don't do anything, this knight is coming in, so you really want to take this if you can. So queen b6, bishop e3 takes queen e3. So you're a piece for a pawn up there, which is pretty good. This piece is on pre somewhere, but I feel like queen d5 is coming. So queen b6 played, takes. It's kind of forced. Maybe queen e3 won't be played. Maybe there's something better than queen e3. Maybe like I'm not sure what though. Well, queen f2 is the obvious threat, so you can't castle because of b2. If you play king d1, queen d4. So I think queen e3 really probably is best, and then queen d4. Maybe then just you would castle for white, and after queen d2 you take, and you're a pawn down, but you have all your pieces developed, and black hasn't developed anything. So that should be pretty good compensation for white there. Why don't they play knight f? I'm not sure what lines you guys are discussing, but bishop takes g6 is not really possible. I don't think at any points that I've seen. So yeah, this is the line I was saying. So castles, queen d2 does force the win of a piece. Queen takes, you should play queen takes, I think, here. So and you have this position where black is, I think, in actually quite a bit of trouble. So f5 is the obvious move. Not sure, it's castles is forced, and then maybe king h1. King h1 looks like, to me, the natural move. Then e5 is pretty much forced after that. And then you might be able to follow up with knight f4. Okay, so knight f4 straight away rather than after king h1. Obvious threat to this is your R threat is just to grab the pawn on e6. Probably f6 first, followed by grabbing the pawn. I think white's doing very well here. d5, yeah, it's natural. I'd play f6. It was possible to sort of grab that as well. He's got a 10-second advantage as well, which is obviously very useful. Bishop takes g6. Okay, he's checked first, but then bishop takes g6. Because one knight g6 check. Not quite sure. This something's gone. Knight takes f8, right? This is over. Bishop h3 takes. Just king h1 or just rook lift. Yeah, this is fine, putting the king on e1. As soon as the d pawn moves, you capture it. Eventually, black will run out of moves. As long as onubense doesn't blunder, I think he is just winning quite comfortably. So b4 you would capture with the a pawn, just to avoid. Yeah, he's played c4, which makes sense. d4, so you capture that. Put the rook on c1, and then bring this other rook over here. And black resigns in a couple of moves. Wow, so that's 2.5, 1.5 to onubense. Two straight victories. I wonder if Arca will take a little break here. No, he's gone straight in for it. He's happy to go straight in for the game. I am assuming that it was onubense that wanted to break last time. Okay, so he's gone for e3 this game, which is another critical line. So here, queen f6 is one at the main move. Now bishop c5 is normally played, yeah. And now c6 or king f8 are both big lines. I know more about king f8, but it's not particularly good reading for black, unfortunately. this is the line that onubense usually plays. So g4, I quickly looked before the match started at recent games that these guys have played, and there was a game actually that they reached his position and Arca played g3, which was obviously a mouse slip and you meant to play g4. So it's interesting that he's gone for it here. There are far more critical lines according to my analysis, but I think black's quite playable here. So black's basically getting quite a bit of counterplay, with like knight d5 generally hitting e3, but the speed at which Arca's played suggests that he's done some homework on this. Well, rook f4 is quite clearly the idea, but knight d5. So knight d5. What is white's move? Is tipau one of the top 10 atomic players? Probably. I hope so. Oh, you mean on the site? So I'm not actually active at the moment. So no, I'm not one of the top 10 players on the best list. No, I'm not. Knight a3. It's getting pretty complicated. So I mean, knight b4 is what you want to do, right? Queen a4 is probably a problem. And if you do this knight, why can't and rook f4? Is that the? Then there's so much material going, so that can't be the reason. So knight db4 looks like the move I'd want to play here. Yeah, so he's played it. Knight b5, eyeing this square. Oh, that is a nasty square, isn't it? It's also quite bad if you play d6, knight c7 check. Wherever the king moves, so say you go like king d8, you can play. Oh, hang on, I'm talking up. You're hitting e6 is the problem there. So yeah, he would check and then he can take on e6. This does open up the bishop, so you then take this. You're opening up the bishop, hitting to h3. But after h4, I'm not sure how big of a deal that is. That looks like the critical line anyway, so knight c7, king d8, knight takes, pawn takes. The threat there is bishop h3, and after king g1, you've probably got something like bishop g4, you're threatening mate on h2, and attacking the queen. But yeah, like I just said, h4. It kind of looks like it might be good with this, but there's nothing you can use to attack the h4 square. I mean, this stuff just looks like it's going to be too slow, with white queen getting out. King g1. It's very deep. Okay, I'm not quite sure about that, but it's probably still good for white anyway. Maybe I was missing something there that meant that was necessary. If black can get away with, black should just try and give up his queen for these pieces, I guess. No, okay. b6, fairly natural move in this position. But one of black's problems is that once all this kind of dust has settled, he'll have undeveloped pieces. So b6 kind of helps with that. In some lines, this bishop can go to a6. King h1. King safety. Okay, I mean, this is a very tricky position. I mean, both players, I guess. I'm sure that the moves they're playing aren't the best moves, but it's so hard to see what the best moves are that they're just making moves, I think. h3. I mean, his position, the amount of time they've got, Arca probably wants to keep the time edge. You could easily sink a minute into this position, and not really be any clearer on what's going on. So good to make quick moves. 93 is a move now, maybe? Can you play 93? What's wrong with that? Okay, bishop b7. Yeah, so queen f6 was threatened there. So you're undermining. So you're. I saw this terminology by Ilian in. It's called mining. So you're mining the g5, or you're mining the f6 square by attacking g5. Quite like that expression. It was quite good. I haven't really thought about it like that before, but yeah, stopping queen f6 by attacking g5. So White will try and do something else. I mean, he's down in terms of firepower. So 2 knights and a rook for the queen here. Plus a couple of pawns, but that won't matter yet until the endgame's reached, and I suspect that the endgame won't be reached, actually. Black is... I'm really liking Black's position now. I think something's gone badly wrong. These pieces are going to start wiggling in to the position, like bishop c8 might come at some point. Threatening bishop takes h3, and after h4 the bishop can come in to like h3 and g4. King c7. So the idea is to bring the rook over and sacrifice on h3. A rook invasion is just going to be devastating here. I'm sorry I'm not being very good at reading the chat in a lot of cases. I'm trying to focus on a position and just give my thoughts on the moves. So queen b5. But right, why can't you take on h3 with check? Queen h3 and then take the rook. That looked like it was surely winning. Or was it not? Were there too many pawns? Oh no. Oh come on. I think he's going to lose this. He'll take on d6 now, right? Take the queen. Oh no. What's... This is... Has he got some sort of mate? I don't see it. No, I think he's blown it. I think White's winning now, quite comfortably. It looked like there was a few different ways to win there, but it went a bit fast, so I may have been miscalculating. Queen h8 wins. May have been miscalculating there, but I think somewhere around here. Why can't you just why can't Black just take the queen here, followed by rook takes h3? Still don't see the reason why. Maybe it's not winning anymore. Well, I think it is though. No, it's not. f3 secures a draw. But okay. I'm sure that there was loads more stuff missed there. That's just a couple of moments that I just noticed while playing. I think onubense will be pretty gutted about that. So 2.5 all after 5 games. Couldn't be closer than that. And Arca's had an extra white, so slight edge so far to onubense, seeing as he's equal with while having had an extra black game. Oh, there's more. Okay. Cheska, do you play on? Are you on Lee Chess? Have you played any atomic chess on Lee Chess at all? Just interested. If I somehow played against you without knowing about it. What about bishop e5? What position are you talking about, Fox? Are you talking about the line that I was just blabbering on about a minute ago? This one. Bishop takes. No, probably not. Oh, you got 2600. Okay. I guess it depends on when that was. Like, the ratings seem to be pretty strange. Like, so about a year ago, I think all the top players were over 2700, close to 2800 before the last Atomic World Championships, and before this one, everyone's ratings come down. There's been quite a lot of deflation, I think, at the top, just with a lot of players dropping off, or dropping out. I mean, temporarily or possibly even permanently in some cases. Okay, I should probably let's have a look at the analysis board, see what Stockfish thinks. I suspect that the average centre pawn last year was pretty big. So Black was winning for a few moves there. So my feeling was right. There was a swing, definitely a big swing in Black's favour. So Bishop C8. Yeah, I thought that this move would come at some point. I mean, I'm sure Arca. Oh, but yeah, you can't play H4 because it just captures. Yeah, it's fairly obvious, that one. And yeah, here, yeah, Bishop takes F1 with a draw. Just F3, I guess. It's probably easy way to draw. I'd be feeling pretty disappointed about that if I was onubense. I mean, the key to these matches, I think, is just being solid with white, and you have to take your chances with black when you get them, because you might not. Each one might be the last one you get. But so far, it hasn't been a white-dominated match. So what have we had? So we've had. So we've had 2 wins for white, have we, and 2 wins for black? Is that what we've had so far? Oh no, 3 wins for white and 1 for black. Okay. But the way the games have gone, it doesn't feel like it's been straight from the opening. So, is Arca's identity known? I don't know if Arca's identity is known. It's not known by me. I don't think it's common knowledge. Oh, it is known. Okay. Do tell. I'll be interested. Let's have a look. No, that's not. That's clearly clearly a joke. But I'm sure Arca's rating is not 1578, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't. He seems to me to be. I don't know. I get the impression he's quite a young guy. But yeah. It's quite interesting. There's quite a few grandmasters playing Atomic now. I mean, when we started this tournament, there was one grandmaster. Well, okay, technically there was 2 grandmasters, but there was one grandmaster that was known in the tournament. That was Arca. And since it started, Fieglud, who reached the semi-final and got defeated by Arca, was also a grandmaster. And Andrew Tang, so Penguin GIM1, also gained his GM title. I'm not sure if has that been ratified or not. I'm not sure, but he's the GM on Lichess, at least, and will be, if he isn't already, in according to FIDE, pretty soon. So we had 3 grandmasters playing in the Atomic Championship this year, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm sure this will go on YouTube. Oh, hang on, I should probably check. Okay, it probably won't be because I'm not actually recording. That was a bit of a silly thing. I'll start recording now. I don't know if there's any way that I can get the get it from right streaming. Is there a way I can just save it on here? There's some setting where you can automatically save, but the thing is, I never use I never use this, so I don't really know what I'm doing with it. If someone knows how to get it to automatically archive, if you can do that once it's been started, then it automatically saves in the VOD. I don't know what that. I'm sorry, don't know what VOD means, but in the past it's disappeared though from. So in settings, okay, so let's go to settings. Oh my goodness, don't have a time machine. Okay, let's see. Channel and videos, it's probably under that, right? Okay. Anyone know where I go for this? Auto host channels, no. I'm sure I've seen it before with an automatic. I'm not missing the match, am I? No, they haven't. They're still paused. Okay, I still don't see it. Settings on the right. Okay, I still don't see it. So I don't know if it will be on YouTube. I thought it would be, but I forgot to start recording the stream. And now the good part is that if it is on YouTube, there'll be a really big long segment in the middle of it about me discussing whether it will be on YouTube or not. So that's nice. You've got to fill the gaps between the games somehow, right? Oh, it's already checked, is it? So it's... Where is it? Oh, store pro... Oh, fantastic. That's right there in front of me, okay. So it's stored, so I'm guessing that means that I can somehow go playing again. Oh. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so onubense going for the same line. I can't remember exactly where we deviated. I think we had this position before. Knight d7. That looks like a move that is just designed to get someone out of their opening preparation. I mean, it has got a point in that knight f4 is no longer possible, which is the move that white wants to play. I say no longer possible, it possibly is in some cases. A4 is a fairly natural move, just attacking on the queen side. Bishop A3. Well, you got to grab that. Not sure what the think was for, but yeah, you got to take that. I suspect we'll see a piece capture on f4, or maybe bishop d3. Can you play bishop d3? Easy to sacrifice other people's pieces. Take on g3, bishop g6, king f8. Looks pretty nasty, but I'm not sure. Maybe you can still do this. I'm a bit too materialistic though, so bishop g6, king f8, queen f3. The knight just comes out to f6. Maybe after takes, white just plays like h4. In fact, I had a similar. If you look at last year's final, I actually had a case against onubense where I grabbed a piece like this, and I lost really fast. So don't listen to me talking about grabbing that piece. Bishop takes f4 seems pretty natural. So generally in these positions, queen f3 will be an idea, and then you can follow up with taking on g6, and after knight f6, just taking the other piece. So he's going to f5. This feels bad. I don't know if it really is bad or if that's just me. Okay, I can't refute it directly. Basically, so queen f3 is the obvious move. Knight f5, you take it. If he plays knight f6, he's threatening to jump to g4, so you've got to really take it. And then after queen f6, you can play like knight g5. But then the queen goes to f4, and it's not pinned, so you're threatening queen d2. So it looks like we're having this in the game. So I'll get rid of those arrows, and we can discuss it when the position arises. Oh, he's played queen f5. Okay, I think that's actually a better move. Knight g5 was just a bit too much. Move that looked nice. You can follow up with like f4 some cases here, unpinning the queen, or you might just want to just get the king out of the attack to f2. Not sure. Black is getting some counterplay, that's for sure. Because for example, after f4, at some point the move e5 will come. Possibly even straight away. That looks like quite interesting. Possibly bad, but also interesting. f3 instead. So this is, I guess he was a bit worried about weakening the light squares by playing if the pawn was on f4 because of a light square bishop. So f3 is a bit safer. A takes b5, so hitting there and also threatening to come in with the knight. E5 is the move again that black wants to play, but I'm not sure it's dynamic enough after knight b5. So a6, he's putting his hopes on playing e5 next move. If he was planning on playing on the queen side, he'd put the bishop on pawn on a5, and then after knight b5 play bishop a6. But he didn't want to do that. He wants to play with e5 instead. And so it's a piece for a pawn. Well, two knights for a bishop and a passed a pawn. But this pawn structure, I think, generally in practice, it's quite nice for black actually. Playing like e5, especially with the light square bishop. You play like e5, e4 a lot of the time. Sometimes you can get a passed pawn. But white should objectively be doing pretty well. Probably rook e1, rook f2. Okay, rook f2 actually is a better move. Okay, so there's a few different options. King h8 seems a bit strange. I would just play rook b8 straight away. But black's just going to push this pawn as far as he's allowed, and then see what to do after that. Okay, he's going to have to move the rook. Well, this is looking quite bad. So the rook. Sorry, that was a bit of a strange noise, wasn't it? So rook a2, I guess. Or is he just going to sack the rook? Is he just going to agree a draw? I guess. So a2 now. I'm not sure why Arca's thinking. Is he trying to set some sort of trap? Maybe he's thinking he can take and then try and block with the bishop. I really don't believe that though. So if he takes this way, the rook will come over to a2. Then he'll push c4. But the thing is, can the knight not get back? If the knight can't get back, that might be pretty dangerous. Okay, he's decided it's not worth it, so we're going for a draw. They'll agree a draw at any moment, I expect. Even without the knight, you'd be able to play h4 and just it would be a draw. So this game is done. So it's 3-all. Any idea why white doesn't try for knight b1 ideas? Which position are we thinking about here? Were we thinking here? No, I don't know. Anyway, it didn't look like white missed anything obvious to me there. It looked like black had a pretty practical compensation. So we've got this line yet again. So we're going to see bishop b4 again. So yeah, so I mean, according to my analysis, I think knight g6 is a move here, but I don't remember much more than that, because I prepared this line last year for the final against onubense. Oh, I hope he's not watching the stream. It would be a bit awkward, wouldn't it, if I was giving him advice? h4 looks, yeah, pretty natural. d6. Yeah, I think white's just better here. Not much more to say. I mean, black's. Well, I think what black's saying here is, I've survived the opening. I'm a pawn down, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to get some piece play. And I hope you make some mistakes and I get some play. But objectively, he's admitting, I think, that his position's bad. And if white plays perfectly, then then black will be in big trouble. But already, I mean, this opening up the position. I'm going to repeat. I think I said it earlier on in the stream that these lines are objectively good for white, but they're very dangerous to play. And I'm surprised Arca is still playing it, considering, I mean, he's actually hasn't done too well with it the last few games. I mean, okay, he's got 2 out of 3, but one of the games he won, he was actually completely lost at certain moments. So that does show you. I mean, even though, I mean, Arca's a phenomenal atomic player, but you know, could have lost 2 out of 3 games with this opening as white. That shows how hard it is to handle. Objectively good, but practically pretty tough to control. So anyway, let's actually talk about the specifics of the position. So bishop g2 isn't a move that would have come naturally to me, but it does make sense. Sorry, take some water again. f4 blocks this bishop. In lots of lines, it tactically is coming out to f4 and g4, just giving up a piece to open up lines for white's more free-flowing development. And now that the bishop's gone to g2, it makes kind of a bit more sense, because you've weakened this diagonal, and the bishop, I guess the bishop can still go to e4 in some cases. f3, so yeah, I was wondering what he was going to do. I thought he might actually play bishop e4, but maybe he was concerned about something. I'll be pretty happy to see my opponent play bishop g2 f3. I mean, the good thing about the play. Hang on, queen takes h4. Am I missing something here? King f. Oh, he plays king f2. That's pretty sneaky. Okay, yeah. Sorry, for a second I thought that this was like some just the obvious win, but he kind of escapes with the king like this. And rook takes is no good either, because black can easily cover the diagonal, and all the h4 square, doesn't matter which. So probably black will play something like knight f6 or b6, isn't. But this is knight's unpinned now, so this knight is threatening to jump in. It'd be pretty sad if he had to play bishop takes c3. I thing is, yeah, so someone said b6, yeah, but then knight b5, I think, in that case, is quite strong. He's covered e4. Knight b5 could still be good. I'm not sure. Bishop d2. It's getting pretty tactical. The knight will jump in with check. Possibly to d6. Rook e1 is more sensible. But it also pins the knight, so now this can just be captured directly. g5, oh, I like that. I like that move. Knight takes. Come on. Also, now this e1 square is covered, the king will have to go to e2, which is a bit more exposed, potentially. So I'm wondering something like knight takes. Oh, he's playing bishop h3, of course, after knight takes. Yeah, I was getting a bit too excited there. Can you play b6? Is b6 now possible? Or is it too slow? I think b6 looks to me, if you can do that, the move to play. Just to develop this bishop out. This bishop could potentially be useful on this diagonal, but I don't think you're ever going to be able to move the e-pawn because of the rook on e1. So b6 makes the most sense. Rook e5. Oh, that's quite interesting. I guess the idea is that after this, is he gonna play like rook b5? No, surely not. He's just moving the rook so it doesn't get captured after knight b5. So knight b5 now. Bishop d2, I guess, is the move. I'm not sure what else. Play bishop d2. Stop thinking. Okay, I think white's in control now. I don't see what black can do. The rubber rook will come over. Knight e5 is a good attempt to knight g3, I guess. Maybe there's some move here like queen d3 or something that wins. Yeah, queen. Oh dear, this is just winning, right? This is winning for oh my goodness, queen f6. I missed that move, but surely there's some sort of okay d. Oh, now rook f8. Okay, I didn't really follow some of that at the end there. It went a bit fast for me. I think my brain's slightly more pedestrian than these guys. I was thinking that knight takes f5 was the only move, but because you're covering queen g6 with rook takes h5, but there's probably some other tactic. So 4-3 to Arca. So onubense, I think, hasn't been doing so well with white actually recently. So he's drew and lost. Hang on, how has he done with? So he drew, lost, and drew. So he hasn't actually won with white yet, onubense. Is that right? That seems. Oh, he must. He has won with white. He's won one game with white. So he's drawn 2 and won 1. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, that last game was very interesting. I suspect that there was quite a lot missed in the time scramble at the end there. But I think generally white was always in control. So before that, but yeah, he got pretty tactical at the end, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if onubense had something at some point. d5. I must say I'm slightly surprised that they've. I probably shouldn't be. That they've played the same openings mostly. I think there was one game where Arca played e3, on move 1. But it's been quite nice in that generally the games haven't been decided in the opening. They've been generally been good fights pretty much every game, I think. The first game, maybe not. The first game was pretty easy for Arca. But other than that, I think they've all been pretty good fights. Yeah, I think Black's getting good counterplay here. Knight g4. Oh, maybe he's not. Maybe, actually. Maybe he's not at all. Knight g4, knight f7. I completely missed that. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if onubense missed that too, actually, because otherwise, why would you have allowed it? This might spell big trouble, actually. If onubense loses this game, he'll be 5-3 down, and he'll have to he'll have to win 2 games in a row, which is a big ask. I mean, he's done it once in the match, but doing it on demand is, not easy. So I think this is a moment here. Actually, this is a very dangerous moment for onubense, because I'm liking Black's counterplay here. Something like bishop b7 now. Black has better development and then a nice position. He's not even material down. He's a pawn up as well. So this pawn is an asset for white, but not yet. Bishop e2. He's also a minute down on the clock. It's a 10-game match, so the first person to 5.5 points wins. And then if it's 5-all, then they play 2 extra games, and then if it's 6-all, then they play 2 more games, and if it's 7-all, then they have an Armageddon game, which will be interesting. I haven't had an Armageddon game, but the way it works, knight e5. Does bishop take? What happens after bishop takes? I don't see the win, actually. I think you've got to take it. I mean, you take it. If queen g5, then it's queen g4 and f takes. Castle's queenside, rook f2, knight e2. But that's fine. Do that. Yeah, queen g5 doesn't win. So I think maybe that was a miscalculation by Arca. Maybe he thought this line that I just showed, like f takes g4, was winning, but it's actually not, because knight e2 comes in. So maybe he'll play something something with f4 here. Sorry. He still has a time edge. If I was Arca, I'd just play something pretty quick. Play something like g6. f4 maybe is a good move though. Maybe he's taking time to calculate f4, or some other move that I haven't considered. So he has played g6. This is the kind of position where I usually play d7 and then lose to a tactic. So you have to be quite alert as white. Just not, yeah. So queen g4, queen g5 was a threat. So white stopped that. I think white just wants to get castle queenside and play knight d5. You want to play these moves before black manages to get his pawns rolling. And if you can do that, then you're going to be doing doing pretty well. Castle queenside, right? After f3 you can play queen e5. Okay, put the queen on e4 maybe. Oh sorry, you know, that would have been all. Oh no, you would have had. No, you wouldn't. Okay, knight d5. These guys seem to get the most tactical positions with absolutely no time on the clock. Knight f6 is natural. Now you're threatening e3 with this diagonal pressure. He's gone back to d5. He'll probably push d7 if he can. Take on f2, right? Oh no, that's even better. That's even better. Or is it? Oh, I think this must be winning for black, right? I mean, I can't see. Just move the rook up. Yeah, that's it. I think this is very bad news for onubense. This is basically resignable. I can't see. There's not really much point playing this actually, but I guess he's just going through the motions now. That's really bad news for onubense. 5-3, which means I suspect he'll take a break now. Yeah, he's taking a break. So he needs to win with black in the next game. A draw or a win for Arca wins the match. So yeah, I mean it's been a bit of an up and down match so far. So I mean it was looking pretty good for onubense when he won those back-to-back games in games 3 and 4. But since then, I think he's he really hasn't made the most of his opportunities, and he's missed a few chances. I haven't been looking at the look at the last couple of games, what the computer says about the about what happened. But my impression was that yeah, onubense certainly had his chances. Especially in that game, especially in some of his black games. Well, one of his black games he lost, I think, from this one here, where he could have had 3 straight wins. And in fact, I thought he was going to win that game. But since then, he's only put half a point on the board. The knight f3, knight c3 draw line. I don't know what line are you talking about. I don't know a knight f3, knight c3 draw line. You think talking about the where they go knight e5 and then follow it with like d4 or something? Is that the one? Because I think that black actually has some interesting options there. Yes, yeah, okay. There's a line that people call the drawing line, which goes 90. The line that's being discussed in the chat there is am I on the analysis board? This one. It's pretty slow. And then there's some line with like d4. Something like this, right? And then the score's 5-3 to Arca. I forget the theory on this one, but there's some move like at some point. You can also play it this way around, but I think it comes to the same thing, right? But this way, you get this option of playing knight a6, which is pretty interesting. This is just a one way to avoid the drawing line. Knight a6 in this position. You can see from the stats that black scored really well here. But there's a couple of other lines as well. I remember looking at it just because yeah, there were a couple of people that played this, but I think it's pretty long odds that Arca will play that. Arca will just play a good opening. I mean, that line isn't particularly good. I don't think. He might switch up because he knows that onubense right now is looking at what to play against, you know, what he's been playing so far, which is this. That might not put him off, or it might do. I was in this exact situation last year against onubense. I had white at 5-3, and what I did was I switched to a completely new opening, which I'd analysed, you know, in depth before the match, and I knew that onubense was busy looking at onubense was busy looking at other stuff because I'd played this opening with G4 against him a couple of times in the match. I think I played it against him twice in the most recent 2 matches at that point. So Arca could just try black chess with 1e4. He could do. Hopefully after 1d5 he doesn't continue playing chess, because that's not usually a good idea in atomic. Oh man, this is exciting. I kind of need to use the bathroom right now, but I'm a bit worried that if I go, then I'm going to miss the miss the game. Right, I'm going to be back in a minute. Okay, they haven't started yet, have they? Make sure I'm still following onubense. Yeah, okay. Onubense TV. So this game, yeah, it was really up and down, wasn't it? So, yeah, at this point, it kind of follows, I guess, the kind of trend of what I was saying. At this point, after bishop e7, I felt like black was just in complete control, and then at some point, Onubense managed to get back in it. Yeah, I think it 95 was just a miscalculation, and now Onubense was at certain points pretty much in control. Well, not in control, but a good position. A good position, objectively. It was pretty messy, and then yeah, and then a win for Arca. Well, I think in general, one thing you can say so far in this match is that in those sort of messy situations, I think with both of the clocks hanging, I think Arca's really handled really come out on top, hasn't he? Yeah, most of the time. Okay, so rematch offer just sent. Let's see. Let's see what we get. Well, I think from the matches so far, I mean, I think earlier on in the chat there was a bit of trolling going on about accusing of cheating. I think if you look at these games and the swings you're getting, I think I don't think anyone would can, with a straight face accuse these guys of using stockfish. Games have been very exciting, back and forth, lots of blunders. What was the situation last year? I don't remember. E3. I forgot to get it in there. This was what I was thinking he might play actually, but easy to say after he's done it. So D5 is the only move. I mean, you shouldn't really be thinking. I mean, you've got to play D5. Bishop G4. Maybe play Bishop G4. Just no, he's gone for the main lines. Okay. So I'm sure Arca, both players will have analysed this. Knight A6 is the main move. So this is all theory. So Bishop G7, yeah. Okay, he's going for. This is actually a drawing line, right? Take on E5, Knight C7, Queen takes, D4, yeah. There are quite a few draws that come about from this variation actually. But White can get in a bit of trouble. I think Knight F6, yeah. And then G4, Castle Queenside. You get some compensation for Black here. So I've analysed this before. Like G4, I think is kind of the main move, and then I kind of like castling queenside, and then after something like D3, you play E4. And okay, white is a pawn up, but Black has more space, and he has his rooks to the centre quite quickly. With I think it's not a draw yet. But generally what happens in these lines is if White is accurate, he can allow Black to sort of get a rook invasion and a draw. We'll see what happens. I would also say that Onubense plays these types of positions incredibly well as Black. I would feel quite uncomfortable playing this as White, not just morally, but I think you don't giving the Black the initiative in Atomic is a little bit of a I don't know. I don't feel comfortable doing it. That's why I don't like playing the 2e3 line very much. Objectively, it's a dangerous line. I mean, certainly it's been putting Black under pressure for like at least 10 years, more than 10 years. Yeah, so I agree with this comment. I always feel uncomfortable playing this as White as well. So now you've got to start calculating, like, after black moves, white capturing in the centre. For example, if you castle this side, what happens after captures? It's probably not quite enough for black there, but captures might be a threat anyway. The idea of castling is that you can also answer this capture with d3, but of course Arca wouldn't do that way. So mate, you'll probably capture this way, I think. Maybe he didn't like some knight jump or something. King b1's a fairly sensible move. When the position opens up, the worst that can happen to white is the rooks will get exchanged, and then black will sacrifice his knight for a pawn and agree a draw, because it'll be pawnetization. I think that's probably the way this game's headed, actually. That's a bit of a shame. I don't think black's got good chance. I mean, black, he's obviously trying to try and do something. Not quite sure what. Yeah, that's a good move. With the king on c1, he might have been able to play something like e4, then follow up by knight e4 or something. But now it just looks that doesn't work. It's not pinned. Okay, so one way to play is as long as you don't capture this rook, that would be a terrible move, because knight c3 would win. So that's a nice move. Actually, I like that move. The idea is that, okay, so white can grab this, but then black can grab it, but then white will be able to take on h8. And the other option is just to play rook here, but then of course there are exchanges, and that helps white. If the clock situation was reversed, you might think, okay, maybe you can get some sort of chances. You stick the knight in, you push these pawns up. Who knows? You know, but with 5 times as much time on the clock, you got to think this is looking pretty good for Arca. Rook d7, yep. Put the knight on e3. Probably knight f1. This rook's a bit out of play, but I mean you you can still activate it. Still activate the rook. I think a6 is the kind of what you'd do generally in this position. But as it's a must-win, you might just play a5 anyway, and just pray that you can. Pray that you can open up and swing the rook back. So yeah, bishop f4 is a nice move to basically stop any of that silly, funny business. He'll probably capture that. Why not? Capture it with the bishop. Knight g3, rook e1, knight e2, rook g1, draw agreed. Sorry, rook f1, not rook g1. Rook g1 would have been probably still actually a draw, but unnecessary. Whoa! There's no need to lose. A3. A3 is the only move, and it's just not difficult to see. So he'll hop back to g6, I guess. But this will be a winning king and pawn endgame easily. There's nothing to create. Yeah, game over. Okay, so there we go. 6-3 to Arca, match over. I think my voice is about to give out as well, so a bit disappointed that the match wasn't closer than that, especially considering it was 3-all. But yeah, I think Arca was certainly the player of the match, and also the player of the tournament as well, actually. He wasn't really in trouble in any games. Any matches, I mean, sorry. Yeah, congrats to Arca. Okay, well, thanks for watching, guys. So yeah, I think that match could easily have gone some other ways. Like Arca just said in his comments, the E3 game was pretty huge. That was the game where I think that was game 5, where Arca won from a completely lost position, and that would have made the score 3.5, 1.5 to onubense, and potentially completely different. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Gonna end the stream, and finally with another congrats to new Atomic World Champion, Grandmaster Arka50. Yeah, thanks everyone, and bye for now.